Live from the booth that pops, it's time for the Riverdale Review!
Welcome back to the Cale Was Right Podcast. I'm not your host, Pete and Bessie. I'm Cale Ward here in the booth that pops. And guys, I gotta tell you, it feels good to be back. Here again in the hot seat, right as always.
Ooh. Are you fucking kidding me? 2 weeks in a row. 2 weeks in a row. You just fucking steal my goddamn intro like that. That is not cool, man. Alright? I let it slide last week with Gabby. It's alright. He's got a bit he's going for. She didn't appreciate it. I did. But then this week, you just come in and you just steal my fucking thunder like that.
I appreciated it.
The thunder is so creamy and delicious. It's like a creamy chocolatey thunder. Ooh. Wow, I'm doing the Peter Pan hook thing.
Good. That's what we want. The visual gags on the only one of our shows that doesn't have face cam yet.
They know what I'm talking about.
They know.
So anyway, welcome back, guys. The Cale Was Right Podcast. I'm Cale Ward.
Shut up. Shut up, all right? All right, welcome back to another episode of the Riverdale Review. I'm your host, Pete and Bessie, joined here by my pal in podcasting, Marco Cunalata, and then this motherfucking monster over here, Mr. Cale. Say hi. Go ahead.
Cale doesn't need the intro. I need the intro.
He talked for like a minute and a half.
Yeah, that's fair.
My name is Marco, and I like Riverdale. Text me don't text me, like DM me. I won't give out my number.
It's like, are you about to drop your phone number?
Can you imagine? That'd be scary.
You almost did it too, man.
I really froze. I was like, oh no.
I was going to commit, and I was like, I don't know.
Probably not the best idea.
Maybe not the best idea.
All right, so this is not a show about texting Marco. This is the Riverdale Review, the Pals Network's weekly Riverdale podcast.
Oh, wait, am I on the wrong show? I thought this was Cale Was Right. Sorry.
No, it's still in development on that one.
It's like a bi-monthly show.
But Cale was right this week, which we'll talk about in a little bit when we get to our spoiler-full portion of the show. But as we always do, we're going to start by giving the spoiler-free reactions to this week's episode, just for anybody who hasn't seen the show yet. So I'll start it off this week. Usually I kick it 20 you guys, but I thought this was a great episode. I really had a lot of fun with this one. I think it's the first episode that I've come out of really enthused about in quite some time. I think we've been pretty critical of the last, it feels like 4 episodes at this point, and that was coming off a real hot streak, for a while. But this is the first one where I really feel like they're back in the groove. And there's a lot going on. We got a lot of payoff to a lot of the storylines that have been building for some for only a few episodes, some for the entire season. So seeing all that kind of come to a head in a meanul way was really satisfying, I thought. And there was multiple occasions for me where I had like a legit just like reaction to what was happening, of just like, oh man, like holy there was some real bombs in this one. So definitely a good time. If you're not caught up, this is an episode that I would say makes it worth it to catch up on the last few.
Yeah, this episode was buck wild. I texted you guys when I started watching. I said, I'm 5 minutes in, and this is crazy.
Yeah, like every storyline, too.
Yeah.
They were all it was firing on all cylinders, it felt like.
Like, I feel like the only one that wasn't hot fire was probably Jughead's. And his ended up being so because he got mixed up with Betty.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah. What about you, Marco? What did you think about this one?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one. This was one that... It was an episode I feel like I was able to get into again. Same thing like you said, Pete. I feel like they're back in the groove on this one. The last 2, 3 for me were just meh. They were there to push the story along, but I didn't know where the... It didn't entice me. It didn't grab me. This one sort of brought me back into that, and I really appreciated that because I feel like I've been missing Riverdale. Where's my Riverdale? But no, this was a really good episode. Similarly to you guys, there were a lot of tense moments in this one where I was also just kind of on the edge of my seat, just all right, what's going to go on here? What's going to happen? Everything all around, with the exception from like maybe some of the shots that they got and some like the vibes that they were sort of the mood that they were trying to sort of capture, to me felt sort of muddled. But I think overall the story itself progressed really well, and it's leading to a lot of cool new revelations, I feel. So yeah, overall really great episode for me.
Yeah, I don't know that I agree with with what you were saying about some of the directorial stuff, because I thought some of the shots were really good, but maybe we're talking about different stuff.
Yeah, but
let's get into
maybe you're wrong. So like, there's that too.
Oh, okay, yeah. Cool.
I mean, listen, this is Cale Was Right podcast. Anything could happen. So
I used to enjoy this show. Let's move over to the spoiler full discussion. So if you haven't seen episode 13 of season 2 yet, this is your chance to bounce out. Unless you don't care about spoilers, then stick around for the end. If you are going to jump out, we'll see you next week. We hope you'll come back after the episode to listen to the rest of this discussion. Otherwise, we'll catch you at the top of the next one. Remember to like, share, subscribe, all that stuff. That's actually a perfect chance for me to tell you where you can find the show. If you guys are audio listeners, we'd really appreciate if you could give us a like on your platform of choice. We're all over pretty much every podcasting platform. But if you really want to help out the show, you can go over to Apple Podcasts and give us a rating. We're currently a 5-star rated podcast. That's a huge way you can help out the show. If you're a YouTube listener, same thing. Give it a like. Give it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. That's another thing where that number really does help us get some visibility on the show. And then the best thing you can do is just share it with your friends. If you've got a friend who's into Riverdale, you think they might enjoy the show too, try to get them to check it out and, do us a favor. And as always, if you want to write in and hear your thoughts right on the air or let us know what you're thinking about this episode of Riverdale, you can hit us up at thecomicspals@gmail.com or get us at thecomicspals anywhere your social media is sold. Or, just hit us down in the comments. All right, so this is another one where the story's kind of jumping all over the place. They intersect a little bit. So I've got it kind of segmented by storyline as much as I could. But we are going to do a little bit of jumping around just where it makes sense, right? So this episode picks up right where we dropped off in episode 12, where there's the reveal that someone has shown up to the Cooper's house and, Chick seemingly killed the guy, right? Alice is mopping up the blood and, she reassures Betty that it was in self-defense, but like...
very weakly.
Yeah, right, exactly. You very much get the impression that that's not really the case. And then, Hal is coming back to the house. They've got, a very short amount of time. She finally convinces her mother to let her help out. So Betty gets involved in this whole thing. But, given the proximity to the event, like when Hal shows up, his journalism senses start tingling and he's like, why does it smell like bleach? Like, what's going on? And, it kind of sets the rest of what's going on with Betty this episode in motion, is the catalyst of, of covering up this crime. So how did that whole moment work for you guys? Cause I really enjoyed the tension coming into that moment. And I think Lily Reinhart, did a really excellent job this episode, like showing kind of the stress that Betty was going through.
The funniest moment to me was when she and Jughead are walking to school, and he's like, "So, like, what's going on? Like, I had a really good time
for the first time."
And she's like, "Oh
weird.
Yeah, no, nothing's fine." Oh my God, that was tonight. We did that last night.
Also, I can't like poor Betty Cooper, man. Like it's like she's like just this whole season has reminded me of this one line from Community where Alison Brie's character, she says like, this place has warped me like a Barbie in a microwave. And like that's so Betty this season, I feel like, because like she loses her virginity. And, like, that night she's going home, she's all, like, walking on airs and everything, and she comes home to this fucking mess. Just another goddamn mess for her to clean up, Like, Jesus Christ.
She has to clean up a murder. That's Riverdale, man. That's Riverdale.
That's fucking Riverdale, man.
If you're not underage sleeping with your teacher, you're cleaning up after a murder.
Or someone's trying to murder you.
A postcoital murder.
A postcoital murder. PCM.
That's what I like to do after every time after I have sex is just go mop up someone's blood and smell a bunch of bleach.
It's
great.
It's hard to find so many murders, but like when you're in the market,
you find them. You find them. But yeah, so it's like I don't think it was the first time that Jug says I love you, right? Like he's definitely said I love you, Betty Cooper, before, but like
I think
it's just like more that like he calls her and it's just like, hey, I wanted to say goodnight, like that was special and everything. I love you, and she's just like, I gotta go.
yeah. It also, it's like, what time is all this happening?
Like, pretty late, it seems like.
Yeah, right?
Right? But also, like, Jug calls her to say goodnight.
Right.
And it's like, clearly it's a school night, so what time is she going to bed?
I'm thinking it's like maybe like, like 10 or 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because it's like night, but I don't think it's like super late.
Well, then what time were they porking? Because...
like 9 o'clock, Good 9 o'clock hump. And then she walks home. Or he dropped her off, probably. I don't know. No, she walks home. Yeah.
Why are you so, like, focused on the timeline?
Yeah, like, it's a small town. You can fucking walk home in, like, 30 minutes, probably. Like,
it just, like, the events of everything that happened, like, them getting everything cleaned up, and then, did Hal come over before or after the call, after they got rid of the body?
It was before they got rid of the body. It was after they cleaned up, but they didn't like finish it. They didn't finish it off with FP.
Well, that's like way later.
Yeah.
Like what he's talking about in that initial like scene, it's like they clean up, Hal shows up, they get rid of him, then they take the body to the pipe.
And then Jughead calls?
He calls right before that.
So he calls after Hal shows up.
Yeah, like Hal's gone, Betty goes upstairs, gets the call, answers it, and then it's like, I gotta go. Because her mother comes in and is like, he's gone, we're leaving.
See, that says to me 11:30.
Alright, who cares what time it was, Cale?
Well, because it felt weird, especially talking about it now.
Cale, I think you're right. And I think we can move on.
Alright, cool.
Fair.
Hashtag Cale was right. So, like, we start kind of, like, getting little, like, hints about, like, what the true kind of, like, like, what the identity of this guy is, right? Like, he has no wallet or ID, and, like, it's obviously, like, he seems like he's some kind of, like, sketchy dude, so, like, Alice is kind of just ready to sweep it under the rug, right? Like, they go and hide him in this abandoned sewer pipe that, like, she used to play in when she was a kid.
How casual.
And stuff.
Like, it's
right?
so, that's more what threw me off. It was just very much like, yeah, this is their body, yeah, I'm, like, cleaning up his blood, yeah, we're just gonna dump his body in a pipe. That's fine.
Homie, she's a serpent. You think this is the first person she's killed?
I feel like she's done some shady shit like this before. Or it is just that, like,
the shock?
Parental instinct.
Okay.
Yeah, like,
yeah,
this shock. I gotta cover this up or my kid's going to jail.
Okay.
Like, she says, they'll take him away and I can't lose him again.
Yeah.
So, like, either one of those, like, I definitely feel like are totally, like, plausible. And, like, Alice is just, like, that kind of person. Like, she's, like, calculated.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that she's ready to just roll up her sleeves and mop up the blood,
Yeah.
But yeah, so, like, after that, right, like, they come back to the house, they scrub it top to bottom and try and, like, get rid of all the fingerprints, and, like, I loved this scene. Like, that's why I wanted to, like, call specific attention to it, because, like, I loved Lily Reinhardt's acting in this, like, she just looks so, like, distant and exhausted, and, like, just, like, that she hasn't fully processed what is going on yet, that, like, and that, just the way it's shot, I really feel like it plays really well, and it's like the music like builds to this really tense crescendo until like the alarm goes off and she finally hits it, and then like it's that morning, that silence after, where she starts piecing it all together.
Yeah, that was a good scene,
and that
was a good scene. Yeah,
I just so effective, I thought.
Do you think her question about the apples? Do you think that was her just overcompensating for like the cleaning? Do you think it was just her?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that was supposed to be the implication, like that it is that, she's kind of just getting paranoid, and like thinking about, did he touch these apples? You know,
like the guilt's still there.
Yeah.
Right. And I think, not to get like too, film student about it, but I think that was...
Shit. This is a Cale Was Right podcast, not the Marco Sass podcast.
It's fucking annoying, but it's good comedy, so I'm gonna let it go. But I was gonna say, I think that the apples specifically are meant to symbolize like sin, you know, like that it is like that she's guilty, you know, and that she's looking at it, and it's like, you know, this symbol of like mankind's great sin, you know, and it's like, I don't know. That's just like the sense I got from it. That it was supposed to be her just being paranoid, but the reason it was an apple was maybe supposed to be symbolism.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, totally.
So like she what's the Shakespeare is it Macbeth, where he sees blood on his hands that he can't get off?
Yes. Yep.
So there's, you know, she's going Macbeth on the apples. But for her, there's nothing there,
right?
Because
and
she
like
didn't
it
do
being
it.
An apple, yeah, that's red, like that.
Yeah.
I feel like that plays.
I can see that. Yeah,
yeah. That's a good connection, though. Yeah. So, I just wanted to call attention to that scene in particular. I think that was my favorite scene of the episode. I thought it was just really sharp, and it was like quick. They didn't like let it overstay its welcome. It was just like this really nice, tight little vignette, and I was into it. You were gonna say something, Cal?
I was gonna wonder if this was what Marco had a problem with, because there were parts that, like, it was a good scene, but there were parts of it that the mood and the tension that didn't quite fit for me, and maybe it's because I was kind of focused on that apple question, because it hit me, but I didn't know why it hit me, and it worked, but it also, I don't know, there was something that was off about it for me that didn't quite play.
So for me, the only moment in that scene that I thought like stuck out was the part where she does like fall asleep with the alarm and all that stuff, and then the apple scene, because I thought it was the cleanliness of it. But like that's a good point, Pete. Like that totally makes sense. The scene where they're cleaning up the blood and she walks in, I felt that was a little bit weaker. It was like the shock was there.
You mean like the beginning of it?
Yeah, like where she's actually cleaning. It was just kind of like, okay, like there was. I felt like there was like weird staging and stuff, and I don't know. It didn't jive for me. But once she like fell asleep, and then like everything after that with the apple and like all that stuff was like really really tight for me. Yeah.
But yeah. So then the other kind of little, you know, like subplot that gets established there, which we'll talk a little bit more later, right, is like Hal knows what's up, right? Like we see him at the Blossoms of all places, and he's starting to piece together like what he thinks went down, right? Like he knows that something is going on. They're covering up something that Chick did, but he can't quite piece it together yet. And then here he is kind of confiding in Mrs. Blossom, right? Which I want to say, now it's the hashtag Pete Was Right podcast, because I told y'all they were going to fuck. Marco was like, you think? I'm like, yeah, dog. Like, they're totally, this is about to be a full-fledged affair, dog. It's going down.
I believed you. I was there.
Yeah, I think we were.
Yeah, dog. Yeah. No, Marco, you were, no.
Did I?
No. Don't. Yeah, you were like, yeah, you think? And I'm like, yeah, dog. It's happening. They're DTF.
All right. We don't need to measure dicks here. We all know mine's the biggest.
Okay, so when you're right, you get to call it out. But
yeah, that's right. That's right.
This is bullshit, man. Just because I'm from the South Side, you think your shit doesn't stink, you know?
I mean, it doesn't. So,
fucking football player.
Ooh, that reminds me. Did you guys notice what? Jason's number was in the drug dealer's phone?
Was he really?
Oh no, I didn't see that.
Obviously, it didn't say Jason Blossom.
Oh, but it just said Jason?
But it said Jason, and I went, oh, I wonder if that's Jason Blossom. Oh. And it totally makes sense that it would be.
Right.
Oh, totally, yeah. Yeah, I totally believe that.
That's really cool. Good catch.
That's cool. Yeah, that is cool. Because, like, yeah, you think about it, like, I guess it hasn't been that long, all said and done, since Jason was alive. You know, it's like, what?
Maybe a year?
And who changes the contacts in their phone? Like,
yeah, right. I'm just thinking because, like, it looked like she was looking through, like, recent text messages.
Yeah, she did go through the contacts, though.
Oh, and that's when you saw it. Okay. Yeah, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, because I know that they were like kind of overlaying the scene with the phone a couple, and I was like, that was a scene that didn't really work for me because I was just kind of like, why is she doing this? And then I was like, oh, he's a drug dealer, got it. And then like literally later in the episode, she like confronts him and is like, what the fuck? He was a drug dealer, and I was like, boom, knew it. Like burn her phone. That's why he didn't have any ID. Yeah. But yeah, we'll get into that stuff in a little bit because I do want to kind of transition to the like Jug's plot because it's not super long before it kind of like transitions into just being a part of Betty's story. But before that, we kind of like see what appeared to originally be the kind of ending maybe of the whole Hiram versus the South Side conflict, but it just it doesn't get to that place, obviously. Like FP like says he wants to try to like reason with the mayor. Obviously Jug knows that's not going to work. Right. And like that whole thing ends up kind of like coming back to bite them, like obviously because Jug's already delivered the head to send a message. It's like the cards are all on the table. And it's like it's time for these two sides to like finally meet, but Veronica, manages to kind of temper Hiram a little bit, convince him to like try and like deal with things diplomatically. So like they set up this meeting, and basically Hiram denies any involvement, but like is like, but as a show of good faith, like I'd be happy to pay all your back rent and like wipe this slate clean as long as you don't write this article that you're working on, and obviously Jughead's not going to do that. I was surprised that FP backed him up.
Yeah,
like, so
I was
quickly.
surprised
like,
too.
He's like no deal, and he's like, all right.
Well, so my understanding of that scene was that they made the deal. Hiram was like, okay, here's this. I'll do the back payment. You guys do your half, whatever. And then Hiram was like, oh, by the way,
you think?
As like an extra thing.
He did do it that way, but
to Jughead.
I didn't necessarily think that the deal was still on.
Right. I thought he was an add-on, like after the fact kind of thing, where he's just like, oh, and by the way, now that you agreed to this, like you can't write this article, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So to me, I didn't read that because that wasn't in the original terms. Like that's post handshake, so it's like, well, why would you add that? Like that doesn't make sense.
I read it the same way that Marco did. I'll be interested to see if you're right, though.
He altered the deal
because I don't. Pray he doesn't alter it any further, dude. Hiram's a powerful guy. But and then that's not the only group in Riverdale that like the lodges are at odds with this episode, right? Like their kind of tenuous alliance with Mayor McCoy is like even worse this episode. They want to speed up the Sodale project because of Jug's article. She wants to wait for the re-election, which is like the whole reason she was working with them in the first place. And, she's threatening to expose them. And they tell Veronica more or less that they're going to expose her affair. And, Veronica goes and warns her. So what did you guys think of that? Were you surprised that she made that move? To go and tell Mayor McCoy?
No, as in you were, or you're agreeing with me. So I say no because, like, that sort of tracks. Like, she doesn't want the lodge, corporation / family to be used for evil and, like, blackmailing and bribing and all that. And so I feel like this episode, she really took steps to make that happen. And to shape it the way
to like kind of put her money where her mouth is. Like she said that she doesn't want them to be that anymore, but we've kind of seen her increasingly, at least I think, compromise those values where the family needed her to. And I think this is the first time we've really seen her take a major step back in the other direction.
Yeah.
Because she challenges her family a lot this episode.
Yeah, I feel like she's starting to, like, especially because of the way that Archie's been trying to get involved, she's been trying to get a handle of it as well, so that way to protect Archie. So I feel like that was also like the play there, is that she's also focused on making sure that Archie's going to be okay and that she can control as much as she can how far they'll go, so that way she doesn't compromise her own beliefs and like her own whatever standards that she has, and compromise Archie.
Yeah, it's funny because I honestly feel like it has a lot of parallels to like and stick with me here, but like this kind of felt like a fucking like small town issue of like Spider-Man, you know, like of just like Veronica's trying to juggle her 2 lives and like not let the one fuck up the other, you know, like she made this deal to be involved in her parents' world, but she also wants to have this other life.
I see what you mean.
You know, she says that she doesn't want Archie to be involved. She doesn't want him to be part of the family. She wants to not compromise him and keep him safe and keep him pure, right? And that's just, it doesn't work that way, you know? And like, that's obviously where the drama is now coming into play.
Yeah, totally.
All right, so let's kick it over to what's going on with Agent Adams and Archie at the top of the episode. Basically, Adams is kind of like turning up the heat, you know? Like, he doesn't believe that Archie doesn't know anything. He gets aggressive. He, you know, kicks over one of his cymbals and destroys his bass drum.
Yeah, what an asshole.
Like, you know, I know, right? It's like that's expensive,
yeah.
Man. Yeah,
that's what I
and
said.
even if it's just the head, like that's like $70.
At least.
Like, and that's like not even for a good one, right? Like, yeah, like,
yeah.
I like that. I like that Archie called him out on it. Well, your mantrum destroyed some of my property, so maybe I should go straight to the government.
Fucking asshole. But yeah, you know, later in the episode, Archie gets paid by him. You know, he gives him an envelope filled with $100 bills and says the FBI pays their informants. Like, you know, he's pushing him to be more aggressive with Hiram. Like, he's like, I want you to ask him straight up, you know, if he was involved in the murder of Papa Poutine, right? Where like the police have found the body, the story's out, you know, like he wants answers. So Archie goes and confronts him about it, and like Hiram denies that he did it, but Archie knows that he did, you know, and like I was really interested to see in this episode, like, how close to Hiram Archie seems to feel now, you know? Like, because I think we talked last episode when Gabby was on the show about how I wasn't really sure what angle Archie was coming from anymore. You know, like, I knew he was lying to Agent Adams to protect Hiram, but I couldn't understand his motives. You know, that I didn't necessarily know that it was because he had come to have loyalty or even like affection for Hiram, you know, and the family, not just Veronica. But in this, right, like Veronica confides in him that she feels like she thinks her dad was involved in this killing. And he goes and tells Hiram, like, hey, she feels this way. And you might want to, like, he says, like, you might want to clarify some things for her. And it's like, he's basically like, you should go lie to her and protect her feelings. And that's what Hiram does, you know? And I was really surprised by this dynamic. And like, it kept coming up throughout the episode even.
I feel like that's where he's been heading. He's been very much, like, even in like the wrestling episode, he was very much trying to just get along with Hiram for Veronica.
Earn his respect.
Yeah, earn his respect, but like for Veronica, and then more importantly for him, you know? So I feel like in that interaction, he is trying to impress Hiram and trying to get him on his side as well. Like, as much as he's trying to get on his side, he's trying to get Hiram on Archie's side. Just because of all the crazy thing that's going on. And it's also just good for their relationship with Veronica. You know, the moment that they have any bad blood between each other, Veronica's going to read that. She'll be upset, and they don't want that either. So
yeah, it's a problem for both of them.
Right. And so I feel like he's making the switch to become part of Hiram's organization as much as he is trying to become a part of Veronica's life. And that's sort of the balance that they have to strike.
I don't know. I'm really conflicted about it. And I think it's because of the way we've seen Archie and Hiram interact. Like, I don't feel like as close as they as Archie seems to think they are. I don't feel like we've seen that really.
Yeah, I feel like it's implied from the work he's been doing for him, right? Like, it's been like 2 or 3 episodes where he's been like running around, and we've seen him like, oh, he's spending every day there, and he's running errands for him, and I feel like
right, but
yeah,
to that fact, like you would think that even just a scene of them like cracking a joke and like laughing with each other for just even just a hot second, just so we could feel like that there is a bond.
Yeah, and I don't think it is that there's a bond. I think it's that like he does actually respect Archie, and that like they're starting to have a bond.
Well, but
right,
I don't think to that point. Like I'm only speaking from Archie's side because, like Archie's the underling here, and he's the one being bossed around, and he's the one that's going out and doing all this stuff. But he's also the one, being interrogated by the FBI, and the FBI, and he's the one that the FBI is breaking his drums and interrogating his dad, and so it just like, to me, from Archie's side, like, it didn't feel like it lined up with what was going on.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I can see why you'd feel that way. I obviously, like I said, I was surprised by it, so like, I guess I felt that way in some way too.
Yeah,
but I think, to Marco's point, I feel like it has kind of been building in that direction. So it was a surprising turn, but not one that felt like unnatural, I guess.
Right, and like I said, I think it would have been better served had we seen like a good moment between Hiram and Archie at some point within the past couple of episodes.
Yeah, like even like seeing them, like going on another run or something like that or whatever, just like something where they're just kind of like, palling around or whatever. I think that would have went a long way.
Yeah.
So I mean, like the next kind of beat of that, right, is like, he lies to Adams, like, like straight up. And like, he's bent the truth. He's admitted things before to protect Hiram, but this is the first time where he straight up fabricates an entire story to try and throw the scent off of Hiram and onto Lenny Kowalski, who was the other guy who was talking about killing him, So it's like, not only is he lying to straight up lying to the fucking FBI, he is trying to eliminate Hiram's enemies too.
Sort of, yeah. I don't think that was his end goal, but I think
it's like it's a bonus.
It's an implied bonus, yeah, for sure.
And like, that's a big step, right? Like that, and we've already seen him getting deeper and deeper, but like, that's something he could like go to jail for, Yeah. Like, yeah. Where everything else, I think he had plausible deniability up until now, and so that's obviously, that was a pretty crazy moment. And then that kind of, seemingly comes back to bite him, right? When Adam shows up and, like, threatens his dad, that they're cracking down on illegal labor from Canada. And,
yeah, can I just say, what?
That was so weird.
Illegal labor from Canada?
They're cutting down on illegal labor from Canada. It's like, we just wanted to point that out, There's... To be fair, it's like, have you ever seen a non-white person in Riverdale?
Yeah, go ahead, Marco. Go ahead. Defend that, please.
Yeah, I mean, Canadians are coming over the border. They're taking our jobs. They're killers and rapists.
We need to build a fucking wall.
We need to build a wall, honestly.
It's the only way. But yeah, so my favorite line from him was when he's like, scary, isn't it? How quickly I can make things difficult for you and your father. And like, it turns very quickly, right? Like, he's like, I think you've been compromised. I believe you're feeding me false information. So it's like, you're like, basically, it's like your last chance is to like plant this bug in the office, or like your father goes down, And like, he doesn't say that, but he says that. And then when Archie's like, I think you don't care if you take us down too. And he's like, well, you better make sure it doesn't come to that. Which was like, God damn. Like,
Do you think, so Archie tells Hiram that he smashed the bug with a hammer. Do you think he did?
Yeah, I do.
I feel like we're going to see that later.
I don't know.
I feel like we would have seen him do it.
Like, I had that same thought, but I don't know. I think it's real. Like, I think he did it, especially with the revelation, that we'll get to later in the episode. Like, what's he even going to do with it? It's a bug to nowhere.
I mean, maybe.
Well, we'll put a pin in that. Because yeah, you know, like you said, like Archie tells Hiram, right? And like he basically is like, well, why are you telling me this? You know? And he's like, because I like you and I love your daughter and like I'm scared of this fucking FBI agent. Can you please take care of him for me? And he's just like, Arthur Adams will be dealt with. And I was like, God damn.
Yeah.
That's some fucking gangster shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I've had ties with the FBI before.
Yeah. I was like, oh,
I bet you fucking have.
like, Jesus Christ. And yeah, in my notes I wrote, I was like, you know, I've really come around on Hiram. Like, he sucks, but I like him. Like, he's charming, you know?
He
like,
is. He is.
He's super likable, despite the not so savory parts of his personality.
Hey, my friend, you take care of me. I'll take care of you.
You're part of the family, kid. But like, I love that the part where like before Archie leaves, he's like, I really didn't tell him anything, man. Like, I swear to God. And he's like, I believe you. Yeah. It's just like, yeah, all right, cool. Like, it's like, tell your dad everything's gonna be just fine. And I literally wrote, I was like, is it? Like, I'm really scared right now because like that seems ominous.
Yeah, especially with what we're talking about at the end of the episode. Like, I was like, oh man, this is it.
Yeah,
this is the end of Riverdale.
I was like, this is going real south. But yeah, we'll get to that at the end of the episode when we get to kind of the wrap up of everything, so we can talk about next episode. So let's jump back to like Betty and the Body. Because
Betty and the Body.
Yeah, that's what I want to call this episode.
Cool band name,
right?
Yeah,
that is pretty good. Like Betty and the Bodies, that'd be good.
Alice in Chains, Betty and the Bodies.
It's like a goth doo-wop group.
Yeah. Oh my God. Like the Misfits, but like a swing band with like, you know, three lead singers who are women that harmonize together. Yeah. One of them.
They all wear like black go-go boots.
Oh my God. This is $1 million idea, you guys. Well, $100,000 idea. So Betty, in typical Betty fashion, like, you know, goes to the pipe and leaves a ton of fingerprints on this body. His cell phone starts ringing. She picks it up. It's got 47 missed calls, and she takes his phone, and I literally just wrote, she takes his fucking phone? Why? Why are you doing this? Yep. Like, why, Betty? And so, you know, she starts going through the context, like we said. She figures out he's a drug dealer. She, you know, confronts Chick and, you know, like, shows, like, shows the Alice side to her, right? Where she's just like, what the fuck is going on, man? Like, we didn't...
No, I really think she showed the Hal side of her more than the Alice.
Oh, I don't know, man. Like, maybe it's just because anytime Betty goes crazy and bug-eyed, I immediately think of her mother. But you know...
I mean, she's the product of two people. You gotta put that together. I think we saw Hal explode.
That's true.
And start sniffing around this episode for a reason.
Oh, dude, I loved seeing Hal not be just like a bumbling idiot in the background where he's like, something's going on, I'm gonna find it out, I'm a journalist.
He just wanders around the house in the middle of the night. Something's going on around here. Get this glass of water, have a good night's rest, then I better have a snack. And something's going on here.
Who touched the thermostat?
The great dad mystery.
Greatest dad crimes. But, you know, like, Chick starts crying and, like, you know, Betty's just, like, not having it, right? Like, she's, like, wants to know every detail so they don't get caught. Alice, like, flares up to try and, you know, basically make her back off. And then we, like, cut back to Chick in the other room and he's just got this creepy fucking smile. You know, and it's like, oof, man, like, he's a sociopath. Like, he's straight up, he's, like, something bad is really bad is gonna come from this. Way worse than Betty becoming a cam girl.
For me, like, the drug buying or dealing or whatever it was with that connection.
Oh, he owed this guy
like,
money,
that was,
obviously. Like,
that was the least worrying thing about Chick for me. Like, oh yeah, Chick's on drugs? Probably.
Yeah. Believe it. So he's a prostitute, so...
Slow your roll. Not all prostitutes are on drugs.
No, but when they live in seedy hostels...
Ooh, is that what is that what the Cooper household is to you? A hostel?
Okay. All right.
Jesus,
you know what I'm fucking talking about, all right? I'm enough with this sass. It was cute the first time. Now it's just annoying.
Won't stop.
But, you know, then Betty starts fucking calling all the people in his phone, trying to say that she found it in the park. And, I was just like, everything she did to find out the details of this mystery, my reactions were in all caps locks in my notes. Like, I was like, Betty is calling people with the phone, and I literally just wrote in all caps, girl! Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? But,
I did
his girlfriend... Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I was just like, I did that too, but my reaction was, white people.
Yeah, like, she and Jug get rid of the car, and I was like, why? It'll be towed in like 3 days.
Yeah, just leave it alone.
Oh, yeah, we don't know whose car that is. Oh, it's going to get a ticket? Well, bummer for that guy.
Yeah, right? Like, no idea. But yeah, it is a loose end. Like, but yeah, so like you said, right? Like, she tells Jug, like, she gets him on this, they get rid of this fucking car, and then like, like, to finally see this get put to bed, like, we call in FP, like you said before, but before that, like, we kind of get that whole thing that happens with Hal, right? Like, Cheryl confronts him, she ends up telling Betty, like, and he shows up at the house because he's trying to, basically save face, it seems like, and not get, exposed for his affair, and then turns it into an interrogation, and Betty throws it in his face, kicks him out of the fucking house.
Loved it.
That was like crazy, man. That was surprising to me, honestly. Like, again, like, of just like, man, like just, I don't know. We've seen Betty like pushed, to a lot of extremes, over this season, and I'm just like, whew, like, she needs a fucking break, man.
It's gonna suck when Hal turns out to be the Black Hood.
He's not the Black Hood, Cale.
Cale was right. Episode 3.
It's not happening. I'll buy you a pizza. I'll buy you a pizza in New Zealand.
Fuck, okay.
But you owe me one if not.
All right.
Okay.
I'll take that back.
All right. I'll take
I'll take that back.
Interesting.
One pizza.
Yeah, all right.
One large plane. That's the bet.
I thought we were talking about pizza.
Yeah.
Jesus, Pete. One large plane?
How many acres are we talking?
It's going to be hard enough getting a pizza.
So this all comes to the head, right, with like FP kind of stepping in. He goes and salts and buries the body and says that it's going to calcify in a couple days and like we'll be out. And, he says, like, they'll meet up back at Pop's, right? And he says, like, we take care of our own and the circle ends here. No more loose ends. And then we immediately cut again to Chick fucking cutting Hal out of pictures and like sitting by a fireplace in the dark by himself. And I was just like, oh boy.
Just
kid.
like real normal guy behavior.
Yeah, pretty much. That's what I do.
Do you think he's going to kill Hal?
No, I think he's trying to... He's
going to try.
He's going to try.
I don't think so. I think he's just removing people emotionally.
No. Get the fuck out of here. There is some fucking claws that are going to come out at some point, man.
Right.
We've seen the peaks of the sinister. Like, he's definitely.
Oh, I don't think we've seen the peaks of the sinister at all.
No, I don't mean like. I'm sorry.
Chick technically he still hasn't done anything yet.
He's on ground level.
Okay, I'm sorry.
We haven't seen him do anything yet. Is what I mean. We're seeing fallout.
Okay, when I say peaks, I didn't mean like peaks and valleys. I meant like we're starting to see him like his
like glimpses.
Yeah, glimpses of his true colors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I phrased that poorly. Yeah, so I mean, like I feel like the logical conclusion of this storyline is something violent. Is like is some kind of violent action, and like based on this, I feel like Hal's the target.
That'd be crazy.
I would be willing to bet like, and I've said this before. When we were introduced to Chick and we kind of saw all the stuff that he brought on in the first couple episodes of this, this mid-season. If my Hal theory is, Hal's the Black Hood is correct, I would be willing to bet we see Chick catching him in it and like it like turns around. So like either Chick is doing something super fucking shady, and catches Hal as the Black Hood, or Chick is doing something super fucking shady, and Hal as the Black Hood is going to get redeemed.
I don't know if you're going to get redeemed.
No fucking way.
Well, hold on. No. He's got because nobody knows he's the Black Hood, right? Like, think about a CW show and what we've seen.
Yeah.
So
no one knows that he's the Black Hood.
he's gonna be creeping around as the Black Hood, but nobody knows he's the Black Hood except Chick, who's gonna find out. Hal is gonna catch him doing something shady at the same time, and he's gonna redeem himself by showing that Chick is, an evil monster.
This is your most far out theory yet, man. There's no way.
I think it's the other way around. I think that Chick is the Black Hood, and that him and Hal are going to be doing something shady separately, but that they're going to cross paths, and Chick's going to be found out as the Black Hood, and Hal's going to kill Chick.
I really don't think Hal's shady. I really don't. I honestly think
he's having an affair.
Yeah, but
he's just too fucking dumb to be shady.
No, yeah, I really think that he's a red herring. Like, I think we've thought that there was something sinister about him since the first season. Like, maybe this is just Occam's razor and, like, he's just a dick. Like, maybe that's it, Like,
yeah.
Because, like, not every character in the show is, like, up to no good. It's like fucking Fred Andrews hasn't done shit this season. He got shot and then, like...
Bull fucking shit. He's hiring the illegal Canadians coming over.
It's a problem all in itself.
But we did float the Chick as the Hood theory early on, because he if you remember, he said he got the Cooper's address
right
from the sisters or whatever.
Yeah, and he showed up.
And
that was like
he went and
ago,
found the house.
That was 2 years ago. Because they said it was when he turned 18, and I think he's 20 now.
But it's not out of reason that, out of bounds of reason that he couldn't find the house again or have been watching them.
Sure. Yeah, I see what you're saying. I don't think that's true though. Like, there's no way. Like, again, I know, like, you guys don't seem to believe this, and, like, the internet seems to be, like, abound with theories about, like, oh, it's, like, we're being deceived visually. Like, there's never ever been a case in the show where something that we physically saw wasn't real. Where, like, there was, like, an apparition or something like that. Or, like, I wholly believe that the middle-aged, somewhat doughy man that we saw is the Black Hood.
Oh, that's right.
Like, I
forgot about those facts.
Yeah, I don't think that... And, like, actually, Archie hasn't met Chick, has he?
No.
Huh, no.
Huh. That's the one wrinkle. If he meets him and he's like, bum eyes, like...
Oh, yeah, does he have green eyes?
No.
Chick's eyes are so fucking evil, Archie would totally mistake it.
That's why, like, I'm pretty convinced the Black Hood is a middle-aged man, And, like, I don't think...
Yeah, that's why...
I don't think
that's why I'm so gung-ho about Hal.
Yeah, I don't think it's Hal either, though. Because, again, like, I feel like... For me, the reason it could never have been Hal is, like, again, the whole focus is, like, Archie knows these eyes. Like, these eyes were so dead and piercing and whatever. And it's just, like, he's known Hal his whole life. Like, you think he wouldn't put that together, that he's thinking and obsessing about this guy's eyes or whatever. And, like, you know what I mean? Like, Hal's got blue eyes, I think. So, I don't know. So I guess that's the time to transition into the end, right? Like, yeah.
Might as well.
Yeah. So, Archie gets a visit from Hiram's driver, right?
Andre.
And, it's kind of like a callback to the earlier meeting with Agent Adams in the episode, where he, like, mentions that, Hiram would have had someone, close to him be the killer, right? Like, he wouldn't kill anyone. He'd have his hitman do it. A capo, thank you, yes.
Did you know that's how that was pronounced?
Nope. Not at all.
Because I sure did.
Never heard that word before in my life.
And I'm still not 100% sure that's how you pronounce it.
It is.
A capo.
No, capo's one P.
Okay. A capo.
Yeah.
Cool. The more you know.
Yeah, no, I was watching the subtitles. It was spelled C-A-P-O.
Are you sure?
Yep.
Ha! The plot thickens. Anyway. So, he says that it would be somebody who's close to him, somebody who's around him all the time, like a driver or whatever, something like that. And then Andre shows up in the middle of this sketchy ass, foggy night. Oh, the boss wants to see you. It's like, oh, geez, fuck. What?
The first person I thought of when Agent Adams brought up the capo was Andre.
Oh yeah, me too.
Oh, what about that new driver?
Yeah, what about that
But I guess-
shady ass driver?
I guess that just kind of goes to the fact that Archie just didn't want to turn anybody in.
Yeah, he was lying. He's like, no, nobody like that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I very much, you know, like I remember you said before that you thought this was the end of Riverdale, and I was like, I had the same thought of like, I mean, they're not going to kill Archie, but like, they're going to murder Archie. Like,
Yeah. I don't know. They fucking might.
like, I literally wrote in my notes, I was like, they're going to murder Archie. Holy shit. Like, and, you know, we get the reveal that it's Hermione. And, oh my God. My jaw fucking dropped. I was like, no wonder she's been so scary this whole season. They've been fucking building her up to be, she's the true crime lord the whole time.
Man, it's like, I don't know if you guys ever watched The Sopranos. I didn't either, but I'm just going to throw it out there. Mobster wives are nuts.
Oh.
Like, they're bananas.
I really thought you were going to say that was like your thing.
Me too. I really thought he was going to go, are sexy.
Yeah. Mobster wise, count me in.
That's, I mean, yeah. Like, I love a woman with power, first of all, but...
Me too.
Got that, Jess? You're powerful. You have the power.
Oh, she homie, she knows.
Okay.
She knows.
Have you met Jess? She knows. But yeah, I mean, like, we get this reveal, right? That this whole thing was a setup. This entire thing was just a test of Archie's loyalty. And I was just like, okay, so I just want to read my notes to you, right? So I write, oh my God, it's Hermione. She is so scary. This whole thing was a fucking setup? Are you kidding me? Oh my Jesus. Fucking Christ. He wasn't real. Wow. Wow, 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 wow.
So, like, I think that... So, remember when Hiram was like, yes, we'll deal with Agent Adams, right? Wait,
Agent Adams will be taken care of.
Right, he'll be taken care of, right? I think that he was an FBI agent. They killed him, but they told Archie it was a trick so that he doesn't feel guilty that they killed him or got rid of him or whatever. I thought that was the thing. Like, her being the true boss and it being a test, I thought was too on the nose for the show. And I'm like, no, it probably has to be a little more convoluted.
Oh, I don't know, dude.
I could see them having an FBI informant. Like, I would buy that. But I'm 100% in the camp of Hermione's the real boss here.
Well, I mean, I don't know that she's necessarily the real boss, but I think she's just as much of a player as Hiram.
Yeah.
If not, you know.
More.
Yeah. But I think what you said, Marco, like, I don't mean to dismiss your theory because, like, you saying that, I don't think that that's the case because I do think this is enough of a twist. But if that's true, I would have been shocked. But you pointing out, I'm like, no, that seems totally plausible. That's I totally buy that. That they just fucking buried this motherfucker, and they're like, oh yeah, no, he was an informant. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. It was like, no, it was a test. It was a test. You passed. Good job.
Good job, Archie.
Yeah.
We're real proud of you, buddy.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I love that. Like when he's like, this was all some kind of test, and she's like, yes, it was, and you passed. Welcome to the family, Archie. And he's just like, oh no.
Yep.
This is scary. Like, this is so much scarier than the reality of what I thought was going on.
So,
I just wanted to date your daughter.
So what are the implications of if Hermione is the boss? Like, does that affect anything necessarily?
The only thing I could see is that they're going to try and sell us on a narrative of Hiram's not such a bad guy, and Hermione is really the one who's cold-blooded.
Okay.
Which, like, I
can see that.
I don't think it's that. I think they're both that. I think they're both that character. Like, I think they're...
I could see that the, this season has sort of downplayed even more, than the first, her involvement in the business.
I feel like this season hasn't, though. I feel like they've definitely kind of showed them as a unit.
Well, more so than the first, for sure.
Yeah. Because the first, we're, like, led to believe she's innocent.
Yeah.
Right. But if this scene leads us to believe that she and Hiram are on one level playing field, then like that puts her in an even higher up than, at least to me, than she was portrayed this season. Like, there are just a couple of like power moves that Hiram has made this season that Hermione wasn't a part of, like killing Papa Poutine.
Sure. Yeah, or even he threatens her. Like, I remember around the time that they buy Pops.
Yeah.
You know, where he's
like when he first shows up, yeah.
Yeah. So that's more what I think this move is about. I think the implication is more like Hermione is a bigger threat than you think. You know?
Yeah. I would also, now that you say that, and we put that comparison there, like Hiram, threatened her, I also could see her kind of doing a little more subverting of Hiram's will. And, like, that's why they met out in the middle of nowhere. Because Hiram didn't know about it.
Huh.
Okay.
That could track.
So in this instance, he's being accepted into the family by Hermione's graces, but not Hiram's.
Or that Hiram had already accepted him.
True.
You know, because he did. Like, he invited him into the family, and I wonder if, you know, this was the thing of, like, well, Hermione orchestrated this whole thing over Hiram's head. You know? Like,
yeah.
I think that's plausible.
I buy it.
Yeah, absolutely. So any closing thoughts on this one, boys? Other than great episode?
Yeah, this is a really good episode. I'm interested to see still where the Hiram Archie dynamic goes. You know, if it like, obviously Riverdale has strayed so far from what the comics are, but you know, I've said before, the Hiram Archie dynamic in the comics is just Archie's just a thorn in Hiram's side. So I'm wondering where that will go.
Yeah.
And how that will sort of be represented here.
Well, I mean, who's to say it hasn't already been? Like,
No, for sure.
Because they've been butting heads, right? There was a whole episode about them having conflict, and I wonder if this is Riverdale's subversion of that trope, right? In the same way that their subversion of, Archie and Betty is been Archie and Veronica. You know, not that never happens in the comics, but it's always that, Archie and Betty are kind of meant to be, and, like, Veronica's kind of the other girl that steals him away and creates the triangle, you know? And, like, I feel like we still got that, but the fact that we've been so set down this path, I wonder if this is the subversion of that, right? Of, like, this is where that has to go, or Archie and Veronica don't work, you know?
Huh. I wonder if this is sort of the subversion of the Archie and Betty or Endgame. You know, I've said all along that's the thesis statement of the show. So maybe this is the show saying, well, maybe it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder.
I had a moment like that this episode, actually, like where when they're in the diner, Jug, Betty, Alice, and FP, when they're all in a diner, and like he reaches out for her hand, and Betty just puts her head on Jug's shoulder. I had a moment where I'm like, I think like this is just the pairs that we're gonna end up with. Like this is gonna like this is the end game for all these characters. And same thing when Hermione was revealed, like I had that same reaction. I was like, oh, okay, this is the long game. They're gonna be the thing, and that's it. Like it's just gonna be Archie, Veronica, Jughead, and Betty.
Honestly, like I agree. Like, I kind of think that Riverdale's whole subversion of all the Archie tropes is even extended to the whole, like, love triangle. You know, because, like, that's really not been a thing. Like, ever, really. Like, in the very, very, very beginning. But even that was subverted because he was with the teacher, you know? And it's like, I don't know. I kind of agree with you, Marco, because I think we're at a point where... I feel like we're at a point where if the last time they broke up wasn't the time for them to like break up and recouple and like I feel like at this point you're gonna get to a place where forgive the dated analogy, but I feel like it would be kind of like in that season of, I think it's like season 9 or 10 of Friends, where they're like, oh, like what if Rachel and Joey got together? And then it's like, no, like that's not the pair. You know, like
Pete, you're so old.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I see Pete and be like, Pete, but how about you use an analogy of a show that people watch, like Seinfeld or something?
First of all, there's no major romances in Seinfeld, so you just proved how much you don't know anything about Seinfeld, you casual. And second of all, Friends is very topical with older millennials. When it came to Netflix, it was super popular with the 20-somethings, so they know what I'm talking about. Okay.
And also Seinfeld inspired Friends. Like, why would you go to Seinfeld?
Because it inspired Friends.
You just told me this afternoon you were watching Office.
I was. Wait, why is that?
Like, why wouldn't you go to the Office? Shut up.
This is not the sitcom house. I've literally been trying to end this podcast for like 5. Now we're talking about the fucking Office. All right. So that's going to wrap up the conversation here in the Riverdale Review this week. Remember, if you want to write in and hear your thoughts right on the air, you can hit us up at thecomicspals@gmail.com or get us at thecomicspals at anywhere your social media is sold. Excuse me. Just hit us down in the comments below. If you're on SoundCloud or YouTube, I suppose. Wherever you do get the show, though, we hope you'll give it a like on your platform of choice. And if we're not on your platform of choice, let us know and we'll get there. If you really want to help the show out, again, you can bounce over to, I keep wanting to say iTunes, but it's Apple Podcasts now. And you can give us that 5-star rating if you think we deserve it. It really helps us out, helps us get recognized by, new listeners. So please go do that. If you're a YouTube listener, you can do the same, like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and, as always, share the show with your friends, your pals, let them know we're out here doing a show that you enjoy and that they might enjoy it too. And I'm going to make this request too. If you are an audio listener and you've never done the YouTube thing, go bounce over to YouTube this week. We've started doing a ton of new content over there. We're working really hard. We've got a lot of cool stuff in the pipeline. And even if YouTube's not your thing, if you've got a Gmail account, you've got a YouTube account. So we'd really appreciate it if you just log in, give us a subscribe. We've been real close to 100 subs for a couple weeks now, and we really want to cross that milestone. So please, please, please go over there and do that for us if you're fans of the show. With that, we're gonna call it a night here. So, what do you guys think? You want to get a pie? Like a real, not pizza. I know we talked about pizza, like a pie. Like I'm thinking I could use an apple pie after this week.
Pop, can I get a chocolate shake to go?
Trying to go? I'm just trying to get a pie. All right, Cale, I guess you and me, we're splitting a pie.
Yeah, no, I'm out. Bye.
I'll take a pie. I need to tell you guys something. Guys, I'm an undocumented Canadian.